Hello and welcome to CTV News Across Canada for Tuesday, July 22nd. We've got the top local stories from coast to coast. Stories that affect you and the country. Thanks for joining us.
9-year-old Melina Fratolin was expected to come home on Sunday, but the day before, New York State Police say she was reported missing. They say her father, 45-year-old Luciano Fratolin, was the one who called 911. Captain Robert McConnell says there are inconsistencies in the father's stories.
Initial reports from Mr. Fratolin of a suspicious white van in the area of the alleged disappearance was proven to be untrue.
State police say the girl's body was found Sunday morning in Ticonderoga, New York, about an hour away from Lake George, where police say Fratolin reported his daughter missing.
Members of the New York State Police Forest Rangers located Melina deceased in the shallow portion of a pond.
Fratolin appeared in court Monday. He's been arrested and charged with second-degree murder and concealment of human remains. He pleaded not guilty and is expected to be prosecuted in the States. Police say the child was last seen with her father in Saratoga Springs, New York, around 5:20 Saturday night. A little over an hour later, police say she spoke to her mother on the phone, saying she was on her way back to Canada. McConnell says the 9-year-old appeared to be in good health and did not indicate she was under any duress.
The investigation has determined sometime after Melina's phone call with her mother and before Mr. Fratolin's 911 call, he allegedly murdered Melina and left her body in a remote area.
McConnell said Fratolin and his daughter's mother had been estranged since 2019. She lives in Montreal and had sole custody. Fratolin is the founder of Gambella Coffee. On the company website, it says Luciano currently spends as much time as he can in Montreal, Canada, with his beautiful daughter, Melina. As the light of his life, she is the inspiration for, well, everything. According to police, he has no criminal record or history of mental health issues, and add the cause of the young girl's death is pending an autopsy. Olivia O'Malley, CTV News.
After more than 2 years of waiting, the Tierney family watched as Max Breton learned his fate, sentenced to 6 years in prison minus time served for the drunk driving crash that killed Hal Tierney. Inside court, the family erupted into anger.
That man took a life. My father. I'm never going to move on from it. Never.
According to the agreed statement of facts, Breton had more than twice the legal alcohol limit in his system and was driving with his 6-year-old daughter in the truck when he crashed into Tierney's SUV on Fallowfield Road in February 2023. Tierney was trapped inside his vehicle and died of his injuries.
We just miss our dad and we just want the roads to be safer. And he was a great dad and we just love him and miss him.
In the hours leading up to the crash, court heard 2 drivers called 911 to report Breton swerving and running a stop sign. Officers later found beer cans inside and around his truck. Breton pleaded guilty to impaired driving, causing death in March. During his sentencing hearing earlier this month, he said, "It should have been me that died that day."
He was amazing, and he just brought us all together, and his kids are really going to miss him, and they need him.
The judge called it a miracle his daughter wasn't killed or injured, calling her presence in the truck a highly aggravating factor. And while she said Breton showed remorse and is committed to sobriety, she says the sentence falls at the higher end of similar cases.
When someone is drunk and they're driving and they have under their hands killed an innocent person, our sentences need to be longer.
Since the crash, members of Tierney's family have been volunteering with MAD, pushing for tougher penalties in cases like this.
If you read the criminal code chapter and verse, it could be life, but the chances of that ever happening for impaired driving at the present time it's non-existent.
And as Breton was taken into custody, emotions boiled over. Family members shouting, "You completely destroyed our lives."
It's not enough time. Our dad was taken from us.
Breton also faces an 8-year driving ban and a non-communication order with Tierney's family. His lawyer declined to comment. But for the family, the sentence is already permanent, a lifetime of grief.
Chaos captured in the moments after a tragic collision in the city's northeast.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
I'm done with this.
Witness Edmund Cole says the man sitting on the road next to the burned out wreckage was driving a truck southbound in the northbound lane of 52nd Street Northeast. The collision left a woman in her 50s dead and 3 others injured early Monday morning. Cole heard the crash and called 911.
The gentleman and the driver was still in the vehicle at the time, all bloody, no shirt on, no nothing. I gave him a hand getting him out a bit, and then he didn't want help, and I was trying to get him away from the truck because it was on fire.
Police say the F-150 driven by the man was traveling at a high rate of speed when it collided with an SUV. A woman who was walking nearby was also hit, and she died on scene. The man and woman in the SUV were taken to hospital with life-threatening injuries.
It appears that a pedestrian was struck shortly before the 2 vehicles collided. The pedestrian is deceased, and we're still trying to identify the pedestrian. The driver of the main offending vehicle, a Ford F-150, is currently in hospital, as are the occupants that were in a Jeep Cherokee.
Initial evidence suggests the driver didn't attempt to slow down before the collision. The driver of the truck is in custody. Police say they do not believe the driver was impaired.
So anybody who may have seen the collision, who may have dash cam, to please come forward, because they may have a crucial piece of information that helps us with our investigation.
For Leah Cretin, witnessing such a tragedy has left a mark.
Love your loved ones, you know, I guess. Like that, just someone said goodbye to their loved one this morning and won't see them again.
Victoria Weidman and Anthony Lipett were too young to remember the day their fathers, Irwin Lipett and Simon Kirk Weidman, went missing during a family camping trip at the Brucedale Conservation Area near Port Elgin on this day 30 years ago.
I was 6 months old when Dad went missing. All I was told at first is him and Kirk went out on a canoe ride and didn't come back. They ended up drowning out here.
Lipett and Weidman's canoe was found, half full of water, as were paddles and life jackets. But the bodies of the 24 and 25-year-old young fathers were never recovered. While they were presumed drowned, several sightings of the pair over the years has sparked questions about Lipett and Weidman's actual whereabouts. Did they drown, or did they fake a drowning and start new lives?
The question has always been, did they actually go out in this canoe? Was it a ruse? There has been witness statements that come forward that said that they were seen the day or two after, even up to like a year after.
I couldn't imagine doing that and still being alive, which is something that's kind of been on our mind the entire time, right? Like, no body, no proof.
The Owen Sound-based missing persons investigators Please Bring Me Home are now on the case. They recognize trying to locate 2 men presumed drowned in Lake Huron 30 years ago is a very tall task.
Really difficult to run a search for somebody who's been missing for 30 years, let alone on Lake Huron. It's not impossible. A needle in a haystack would be easier, but it's not impossible.
It was just me doing it for years and years and years. Even my family wasn't really helping or saying too much at all. So it was such a relief to know that there was other people who would actually help and actually cared too, you know.
Both Lipett and Weidman acknowledge the answers they're seeking aren't exactly heartwarming ones. Either their dads left them and started new lives and new families possibly, or they drowned in Lake Huron that day. Either way, the duo say they just want some answers.
I mean, he has a headstone that has no body underneath it. So I just kind of want an answer, whatever that answer is. Just one's fine.
I'm not going to get the answers I probably want to hear, but a closure for myself, for Tori, my kids, and my mom would be really nice.
They are somewhere. So, you know, we want to put in any effort that we can to locate these men.
In Bruce County, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Penny Oleksiak has accepted a voluntary suspension for a whereabouts failure with the International Testing Agency.
It's a fundamental component of the anti-doping program, and therefore the seriousness of a whereabouts violation is not significantly different than a presence violation or any of the other violations that exist.
A whereabouts failure is not a failed test. The World Anti-Doping Agency defines it as any combination of 3 missed tests or filing failures in a 12-month period. Athletes who are in the registered testing pool are expected to follow strict guidelines from the World Anti-Doping Agency to allow for testing at any time. Athletes must provide address and contact information, regular activities such as training, work, and school, competition schedules, and a 60-minute time slot for each day where they'll be available and accessible for testing.
And the consequences of a whereabouts violation range from a period of ineligibility from 2 years down to 1 year.
The 25-year-old Toronto native will have the opportunity to explain the whereabouts failures. Oleksiak withdrew from the World Aquatic Championships in early July. In a statement, she said, in part, "I want to emphasize that this whereabouts case does not involve any banned substance. It's about whether I updated my information correctly, and I am and always have been a clean athlete and will be making no further comment at this time."
I don't know if necessarily Canadians know how invasive WADA protocols are and how easily a whereabouts violation could theoretically occur.
Taylor McKee with the Sport Management Program at Brock University says there are plenty of opportunities for error in situations like this.
You have to provide your whereabouts every single day for 3 months at a time. And you have to give them an hour every single day, a time slot that they could theoretically come and test you during that period.
He says of the over 800 whereabouts failures in the past year, 313 were dismissed after explanation. McKee says it's rare for an athlete of Oleksiak's stature to have an infraction like this. Swimming Canada said in a statement, "We support her decision and believe she is a clean athlete who made an administrative mistake." The whereabouts failures were said to have happened between October of 2024 and June of this year. Reporting live, I'm Sean Leathon.
An Elgin County OPP officer is recovering in hospital after a traffic stop went wrong near St. Thomas Sunday.
One of our Highway Safety Division members conducted a traffic stop on a pickup truck hauling a boat for a traffic violation. The driver took off, fled the scene from the officer, striking the officer with the truck and the trailer.
Multiple neighbors who wish not to be identified tell CTV News that a dozen or so police cars ascended here on Highway 3 in downtown Shedden and later made an arrest. A 40-year-old from London is charged with multiple offenses, including dangerous operation causing bodily harm, flight from a peace officer, resist peace officer, assault with intent to resist arrest, identity fraud, and 2 counts of failure to comply with a release order. The accused was held for bail.
When you do a traffic stop, and there's no such thing as routine.
The Ontario Provincial Police Association is sending their best wishes to the injured officer. They say pulling someone over, especially in a rural area, can be dangerous.
I personally, I've stopped vehicles where they've had a loaded handgun under the seat, and one thing leads to another, and it happens pretty quickly. It's just another example that the police officers that are out there serving and protecting in the province of Ontario, they go above and beyond.
The incident closed the Highway 3 bypass for hours Sunday. Police are thanking the Good Samaritans and a quick response.
It was serious but non-life-threatening, and he will be okay.
Brent Lale, CTV News.
The glow from the fire that hit Jasper was visible more than 80 kilometers down the highway that day. A wall of fire Parks Canada assessed at 50 meters high, propelled up the valley from the south by dry conditions and strong winds.
As the incident commander for the municipality of Jasper, I do believe there's nothing we could have done. There's no amount of resources or firefighters or air tankers that could have stopped that fire.
Crews tried to stop it. Fresh fire breaks, sprinkler systems, and teams on the ground couldn't stop homes and businesses catching fire from flaming debris raining from the sky.
You're always going to have an ember shower. Ahead of that fire will come the flying debris that will ignite something in your yard, something on your property.
Jasper is reviewing how the fire response could have been done better. An after-action report commissioned by the town and authored by 2 consulting firms was published last week. One small section suggesting the province disrupted the focus of incident commanders caught the ire of Premier Danielle Smith.
It took place in a federal park, and it was a federal Parks Canada response. So whatever it is that they are trying to do to deflect blame, I'm not impressed with it, and I would ask for an apology.
We have always acknowledged our gratitude to the province for the support that they have provided.
No apology from Mayor Richard Ireland, instead offering a clarification.
It was not intended to ascribe blame, and it does not ascribe blame. It describes circumstances.
The Premier also criticized Parks Canada's forest management before the fire, calling the efforts poor.
Parks Canada maintains it has been properly managing fire risk in the forest around Jasper. This is one of the areas where crews have cleared out certain trees and a bunch of other fuel. It is expensive work, and Parks Canada staff say it's a fine balance between public safety and keeping the area natural.
We did have a lot of fire risk reduction work on the landscape prior to last summer's fire, but the month of July last year was simply off the charts in terms of the hot, dry weather.
Officials with Parks and the town say the most practical improvement to reduce damage next time around is to get more people to fire smart their properties. Rebuilt homes will do that by default. The fire department is also rolling out a residential sprinkler system to be activated when the fire risk is high. In Jasper, Jeremy Thompson, CTV News.
It's a go-to painkiller. Oxycodin combines Oxycodin and acetaminophen into one pill. For many people, it's what keeps their pain in check. But right now, it's getting hard to come by. Health Canada warning of a national shortage, and pharmacists like Tim Brady are feeling the pressure.
It's scary. If you've been stabilized, you have chronic pain, you found medications that are working for you, then all of a sudden you come to the pharmacy and say we have none. You don't want to go back into that situation again.
A manufacturing issue combined with rising demand has triggered a supply crunch with no full doses left. Brady's making tough calls, limiting refills, splitting doses, and trying to help as many customers as possible with what little stock remains.
We're basically out now. We're hoping that we'll get some in again soon. You're trying to limit people to like 30-day supplies instead of 3 months, trying to make sure we can, spread it around so everybody gets some.
The warning from Health Canada came in mid-July, but pharmacists like Brady say the squeeze started weeks before that as shelves slowly emptied. At Windsor Regional Hospital, staff saw it coming too and started planning early.
We look at our stock levels, then we'll determine basically a date of when we anticipate that we're going to run out, and then we'll start working on a plan. We're going to start to restrict it to those patients and use alternatives for other patients.
Drug shortages are nothing new. Canada sees hundreds of them every year, but it is rare for such a common pill to be impacted. Experts say the global supply chain is fragile, and even a small hiccup can cause a big problem.
For one pill to end up in your vial, it probably has ingredients from multiple countries. It's gone through maybe 8, 9 different factories. And so if something along that chain happens, you start to see a domino effect.
Health Canada says it's working with manufacturers to manage the shortage, calling drug access a top priority. Supply could return in the coming weeks.
When you have a drug that what we call is a fast mover, it's a commonly used medication, you also have people who are newly starting on it, but you have some patients who are on it for a long period of time. You're faced with a scenario where you have to make tough choices.
Brady says his team is doing everything they can, but the best thing customers can do is check in early and be patient.
It's not that we're trying to deny you the medications. We're not trying to make your life difficult. It's just we can't get any.
Health Canada tells CTV News this shortage is only supposed to last until early August. Until then, the advice from experts and pharmacists alike, don't panic, but plan ahead.
24-year-old man has passed away from drowning, and a 27-year-old is in hospital in stable condition after an incident at Moonlight Beach last Saturday.
Fire services were at the beach with the boat in the water in just around 8 minutes, and they had the best opportunity to get to the individuals, get our water rescuers into the water, and help get those individuals out of the water. I know that we started performing life-saving actions and got them transported to paramedic services who were there and waiting.
O'Shell says that fire services were contacted at approximately 5:30 p.m., where they dispatched the 2 water stations to the scene.
With a community such as ours, we have 330 plus beautiful lakes within our community, and we will respond to all of them. And certainly it is a matter of travel time to get to those lakes. That is why it is so important that individuals exercise caution.
The death comes after 2 individuals were believed to be using an inflatable kayak when the craft capsized 300 meters away from shore.
And a lot of drownings actually happen when the person doesn't intend to get into the water. This could be a fall from a dock, or you're walking along the beach and you slip in. It could be that you are boating and you're not wearing a life jacket.
Today marks the start of the organization's annual Drowning Prevention Week. This year's national theme is Safer Together.
We've seen a lot of drownings happening when people are swimming alone. A lot of people who aren't wearing life jackets when they're boating or swimming.
When fire services responds to some of these incidents, one of the things that we see most common, especially around water rescue incidents, is those PFDs, those life jackets, and they're not worn.
While O'Shell says that drownings in our community are uncommon, both he and Dackler agree that when you're in, on, or around water, safety should be top of mind. They recommend swimming with experienced swimmers and remaining inside the lifeguard monitored areas while wearing a PFD. Madison Merrier, CTV News, Sudbury.
A memorial has been set up for Madison Cobb, the tribute in an entrance of the parkade where the 23-year-old from Okotoks was killed. On Saturday, around 4:30 p.m., police responded to reports of gunshots being fired in this garage along Horton Road Southwest, just off McLeod Trail.
Upon arrival, we located a woman in her 20s suffering from gunshot wounds. Despite life-saving efforts, she was declared deceased at the scene.
Calgary Police Service say Madison Cobb was the targeted victim. CTV News has learned that just last month, a restraining order had been issued against a man known to Cobb. The man was ordered to stay away from her home and her place of employment. She worked at this Vision LASIK MD office. It is located just above the parkade where she was gunned down. In a statement, the company saying, "We are deeply saddened to learn of the tragic death of one of our employees. Our thoughts are with her family, friends, and colleagues during this incredibly difficult time." Police are asking for the public's help, releasing this CCTV footage of a white Toyota RAV4 with a stolen British Columbia license plate leaving the scene. It had been parked in the parkade prior to the shooting.
Anyone who may have had contact with Madison in the days leading up to this tragedy or have knowledge or information regarding the shooting.
They are also calling on the public for dash camera footage from the parkade between 3 and 4:30 p.m. on Saturday, and those who were driving in the area around 4:15 p.m. when the shooting occurred. Tyler Barrow, CTV News, Calgary.
This summer, rural municipalities like Big Stick, Maple Creek, Fox Valley, and Enterprise had declared state of emergencies due to extreme drought. Now, in response, the federal and provincial governments are stepping up to help agricultural producers by making changes to Saskatchewan's Agra Stability Program.
You know, certainly we did some field tours, and you know, that helped. You know, bring my message to the federal minister and my colleagues at the FPT.
Changes for the 2025 year include a 10% increase in the compensation rate from 80% to 90% and doubling the maximum payment cap from $3 million to $6 million. The provincial NDP acknowledged the changes are positive, but remain concerned about other factors affecting markets like tariffs.
Changes to agri-stability are good. Certainly it's part of what we've been calling for, but agri-stability is nobody's first choice, right? Farmers want their crop in a bin, and they want to see the value of those crops helping grow their industry.
The Agricultural Producers Association of Saskatchewan says the 10% bump could make a significant difference to some farmers on the Agri-Stability Program.
It's reassuring to them to know that the government support programs are being responsive to the obvious difficulties out on the farms, particularly in this part of the country.
A permanent change to the Agri-Stability Program will kick in next year. It will see adjustments to the feed inventory pricing for livestock producers. This change will be designed to ensure calculations accurately reflect farm realities, especially in dry conditions. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.